method, check, done. And the third method that we are doing in this sequence would be the cost plus method. Fine. So cost plus method and resale price method along with T and MM, these three methods I told you, they are one-sided methods. They focus upon the tested party. Tested party is the party which has a simpler functional profile and upon which you can apply the chosen transfer pricing method in a more reliable manner. Fine. So in that sequence, let us begin the third traditional transaction method, that is your cost plus method. Fine. It's very much similar to your resale price method, obviously with the difference that in case of resale price method, the variable or the attribute which was under consideration was your resale price margin. In CUP, the variable under consideration is the price, and in case of cost plus method, the variable or the attribute under consideration will be your cost plus margin. Fine. Let's have a look. So you have the cost plus method. So you have AE1, you have AE2. This is the control transaction, and AE1 is manufacturing certain items. It is manufacturing items, finished goods or even in semi-finished state, and then it is transacting or selling those semi-finished or fully finished item to your AE2. Fine. Obviously AE2, AE1, AE2, they are the part of the M&E group. Fine. So in this case, when AE1 is manufacturing any item, it is manufacturing any item. While manufacturing certain item, any item, there are certain costs. I mean, just as a matter of digression. See, when we are talking about cost plus method, there are different costs which will be taken into consideration while we are talking about this cost plus method. Two most commonly used terms as far as costs are concerned, they are direct costs and indirect cost. What do you mean by direct cost? When I say direct cost is the cost which goes into manufacturing the item directly, which is directly inbuilt into the manufacturing of that item or provision of that service. For example, if I talk about this marker, and if I talk about the direct cost component of this marker, then I would be talking about the plastic, the cost of this plastic. It's made up of plastic, the body is plastic. And then I would talk about the filler inside, and I would talk about the ink. So these three, the raw material cost which has directly gone into making of this marker, that will be the direct cost. Then the amount of labor, the person who has manufactured, who's actually physically manufactured this item, who has worked on machine, that is also a component of direct cost. So direct costs are all those components which are directly inbuilt into the item. Indirect costs, on the other hand, are those cost components which are inbuilt into the product, that is fine, but they are not directly or specifically associated with that product. For example, supposing there is a factory which is manufacturing these markers, which is also manufacturing drawing boards, which is also manufacturing notebooks, all the stationery items, and then you have heating and ventilation, air conditioning equipment installed all across the factory. So those heating and ventilating equipment, they are providing air conditioning to all the workers, all the even machines environment, and they are contributing, that cost is also inbuilt. But then you cannot say that certain amount of component of heating and ventilation and air conditioning is inbuilt. It will be very difficult for you to categorize that specific cost into this. Contrarily, on the other hand, you are able to specifically point out that raw material cost, plastic cost, ink cost, filler cost into this. So such type of costs are known as indirect costs. Fine. So coming to the cost plus method, when we talk about the cost plus method, when AE1 is manufacturing certain items, we will first take care of all the direct costs. We will take care of all the direct costs involved in the manufacturing of that item, direct cost, then indirect cost. And along with this, you will add a margin which is known as cost plus margin. Cost plus margin. So direct cost plus indirect cost plus cost plus margin, and this cost plus margin will be directly, which will be in accordance with the functional profile of this AE1. Now, although I have not mentioned this, but you must remember and you must appreciate this very very clearly, that this AE1 is the, okay, let me ask. Chetna, can you tell me, I am focusing in this transaction, this is the cost plus method, and I am focusing in this transaction upon AE1. Fine. AE1 and AE2 are two parties to this transaction. Can you please tell me which of these two parties will be the tested party? Chetna, please.
Because AE2 will, in the previous example it was reselling, so we considered it as a tested party.
In this case?
But in this example, is this the same condition applies that we should have a resale, or if it is just the cost, then
in this we're not talking about reselling, we're talking about the manufacturing, the operation, the paradigm has changed. I'm simply saying that in this transaction the focus of our attention is AE1, and with this input I'm simply
AE1 will be the tested party. AE1 will be the tested party.
Absolutely correct. Raghu, you would like to add anything to that? Chetna, you switch off your mic. Raghu, anything?
Yes, so the data is more accurately available for AE1.
AE1.
So
yes, absolutely right. And although it was premature for me to ask this question from you, but I simply wanted you to understand by necessary extrapolation that because I am focusing my attention upon AE1, so you can reasonably assume that AE1 would be the simpler of the two parties, and because it will be the simpler of the two parties, that is why it will also become the tested party. Fine. So now I am saying that AE1, please switch off your mic, Kiran. You want to ask something? Fine.
Yes. You are also using the terms less complex and simpler one should be the
tested party. Yes.
So when you say that in this example, should it be A2 then? Because it is just consuming.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll give you some more information, and then you will be able to conclusively come to this understanding that AE1 will be the tested party in this case. Don't worry. Fine. At this point of time, just take my word for it, as Chetna and Raghu, they have rightly pointed out that because I am focusing my attention upon AE1, so it's a one-sided method, and because we are focusing our attention upon AE1, so let us assume that this is the tested party. I will prove this to you that this would be indeed the tested party. Fine. Don't worry. When I am saying that it's a party to a transaction which has got a simpler functional profile, upon which more reliable comparables can be available easily, so this becomes the tested party in this case. Fine. Okay. So when in this case you have direct cost, you have indirect cost, and when you have this cost plus margin, so when you aggregate all these three costs, all these three components, fine, this will become the price P at which the transaction occurs, and as per the cost plus method, this price which comprises this P, which comprises the direct cost plus indirect cost plus the cost plus margin, this should be the arm's length price. This is the cost plus method. Fine. This should be. And how do we validate this result? How do we validate this assumption that this would be indeed the arm's length price? This would be the arm's length price by making use of same internal comparable and external comparable. So internal comparable what? This is the M&E group. And internal comparable would be one in which this is transacting with some independent enterprise. Remember, internal comparable, that tested party is common. That tested party, which is the AE, that is having that a control transaction, and that is also a part of the uncontrolled transaction. So this becomes the internal comparable. So you find that this AE1 earns the same cost plus margin in this uncontrolled transaction, and if you find that the margin, that the cost plus margin in this transaction is similar to the cost plus margin in this control transaction, then you say that yes, this P is indeed the ALP, and that is why the comparability requirements are satisfied. So making use of internal comparable, if you